Welcome to a special episode of Poor Decisions.
I think you mean more decisions.
Very good, very good. We are in the Rebel City Distillery in County Cork.
In Cork City, the only distillery in Cork City. So beautiful in the old Ford building here. So I think we're going to get the owners to come in and have a little chat with us
Absolutely.
about what's going on here. So we have Bhagya and Rob, and I hope I didn't butcher her name, but we're going to get them in now.
Deadly, come on in, have a wee chat. So welcome, or not even that, thank you for having us in your distillery.
That's like when the person in the airport says, have a good trip, and you say, yeah, you too. So thank you very much for welcoming us here to Rebel City Distillery. It's definitely one of the cooler distilleries I've seen. I think we walked in and we went, right, 25-foot ceilings. And it's very cool. And it's the old...
Yeah, it's the old Ford building, yeah. It's part of this whole complex was half Ford and half Dunlop.
Okay, so tires and cars.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Shut down in 1984.
Okay, yeah. And it was here since 1917?
1917, yeah.
Deadly. And it is, you've kind of transformed it into this beautiful sort of like jungle bar landscape. It's class. I love houseplants and I love booze, and you've brought them together. Lovely.
You do love houseplants.
I do love houseplants. Very strange.
I brought the booze and Bhagya brought the plants.
Nice. Well, the colour, I know everyone can't see, but the colour up around the distillery, you have all the kind of, I guess, Indian touches. And
we wanted to bring something like a bohemian kind of vibe because the place is industrial, but we did not want to take away from the space, just add bits and pieces. Yeah. And I think plants are a great way for it, and add a bit of colour because I love colours.
Yeah, definitely.
You've brought that blend in really nicely, and the second you open that front door and you see the bar and the decals on the wall, like it's class straight away.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So I suppose kind of like bringing it all back, where did it all begin? How did this become from a project to a real life distillery?
So I suppose like my background is spirits production, so I did the Masters in Harriet Watt, then worked for Cooley, then ran a distillery in Vancouver, then helped set up the shed in Leitrim, then worked as a consultant in FTT, and then in the period after that we met and then we kind of talked about doing something like this together.
So Rob is the drinks man here. Like I come from a pure software background, so I moved to Ireland 10 years ago to do a master's. I did an MBA and I was working with Dell Limerick, and I met him on a blind date over a pint of beer, and we both love
That's pretty Irish,
we both love art, history, drinks. Now we both love drinks as well. So, and he was like, okay, we should start something together, and I'm like, okay, I'll also jump into it with you, and here we are. We're happy. We have 2 products right now.
Two pretty impressive CVs there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't exactly starting in your shed there and going, we'll figure it out as we go along.
Do you know what? The last time we were in Cork, I actually blindfolded you. That was a nice silk blindfold.
It's not as sinister as it sounds. All right, let's just.
It was what it was. So, how long have you been running on this site?
2020, so the still was installed in February 2020.
Great year to start business.
We all know what happened in March, then we launched the gin. And launched the gin virtually then in June, so in the first lockdown, so that was fun.
Yeah.
We added absinthe last summer, and we opened up the visitor center as well last summer. So it's quite new for the visitor center aspect.
And you're down here beside the Marina Market as well. So
yes,
it's a kind of an area of Cork that's getting a lot busier.
Yes. The whole area right now towards this direction, city is growing towards this direction. So we are happy. We are also here, part of that. So great.
Yeah, exactly. The city's just growing this way, so it's good for us to be here.
Yeah, and you can see that it is just like a new, like flourishing part of town, because where we parked the car, if we hadn't went any further, we were in the lead. Yeah. There was no barriers or nothing. It was just like, throw your car there, just not there. Just you're in the water. So it's a really cool place to kind of bring it. Kind of reminds me of like this sort of Hackney like boom that after Shoreditch and all in London, where cool businesses were just taking over epic spaces.
Yeah. No, it is kind of reminiscent of like London, Hamburg, New York, places like that have those old industrial buildings. They're more rare here, so we were kind of lucky to get them.
Yeah, and it's great that we actually start to use them in Ireland as well, because I don't think we're the greatest as a country of using the space we actually have. So I think it's brilliant to have it down here anyway.
Yeah. So I would love to get trying stuff. We'll have a gin first. Will we start with your gin?
I'll have the gin here.
Lovely. So
Go on, I know you want.
Oh well, no. I'll open the pot. I'll open it. Obviously, I'm going to pop it. That was never in question. But so Maharani. What does the name mean? What's the inspiration behind this gin?
When we decided to make our first product, it was important for us to just bring in both the elements of Ireland and India, and we thought gin was the right category to jump in, because gin is all about flavors, and especially since I come from India, India's a land of spices, so we thought this was the opportunity. So we got in, and that's how we came up with the gin. So we get the spices from India, from a women's farm, and that's why the gin is called Maharani, which means queen in India, just like Maharaja is king. Okay. And I think sometimes we don't talk much about women, so we wanted to bring that element in. So yeah, and it's a contemporary style gin.
Yeah, and it's super like striking as a bottle, like the kind of blue foil, and you can see you're wearing the ring.
Representing the colours,
and then from like a distilling point of view, it's copper pot stilled. Like that's quite cool. It's you're obviously keeping that Irish kind of traditional craft in it.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, in terms of the flavor profile of it's a bit more contemporary. It's less juniper heavy. Like Bhagya said, the main botanicals come from Women's Collective, so that put the flavor profile onto a citrus and spice landscape with the nutmeg, mace, cassia, cardamom, and pomelo, giving it that kind of flavor. So, it's a good contemporary flavor profile, and it stands out a bit from the crowd of like more juniper heavy gins. Yeah.
And so I see on it, it's Cork and Kerala.
Kerala,
which is south.
Kerala is in southern part of India. So if you haven't been to Kerala, just picture Caribbean. It's kind of Caribbean vibes. A lot of coconut trees. It's very green. A lot of backwaters.
Great for spices.
Yes, absolutely. And even in India, Kerala is known as land of spices. So when Rob said we are going to make something, I'm like, okay, you better get spices from my home. So it was a natural choice.
Ireland, we have mint.
We do. We can grow mint. We can grow sage.
Thyme.
Potatoes.
What do you call them? Gorse flower.
Oh, gorse flower. Yeah. We've many things.
Yeah, we do. We're tropical. He's from the sunny southeast.
I'm from Wexford, so it's the sunniest part of Ireland. You'll be familiar with it.
But yeah, let's get cracking. So I am going to just crack open this bottle. Obviously, I love a wee cork pop, but look at that. So
That's quite nice.
Blue foil. It's like a wee mahogany. I think that looks like the furniture in my dining room.
Yeah.
My parents' dining room, not mine.
I was going to say, you have a lot more money than I thought you did. You have mahogany furniture.
So let's give this a one. Nice. Oh, I tell you. So, and it's 41% as well.
41%, yeah, exactly.
Was that just when you were like working with it? You found that was the perfect ABV?
Yeah, we found like we did a couple of different ABVs, and just in terms of neat drinking anyway, 41 worked quite well, so we stuck with 41 then. Obviously with tonic and everything, it's diluted, but if you're drinking it neat, which it does work well as a sipping gin, 41.
And I can see there's a wee award on the side as well. You've won a few for this?
Yeah, so we've entered 515. The badge there is Blas na Héireann, but it's also got the Gin Masters, London Spirits Competition, Berlin Craft, and the IWSE as well.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, we're still waiting on our first award, but it won't be long. It'll be along any day now, I'm sure.
Yeah, I assume it's an Oscar.
I'd settle for an Emmy.
But yeah, right off the nose, you really get that like big, massive, like spicy citrus note.
Yeah, exactly.
We are partial to a wee gin martini, you and I.
This is what I was going to say. Yeah, what is your suggested serve on this one?
It does work well in a martini, but our kind of like signature serve would be tonic plus a wedge of grapefruit.
Okay.
Because grapefruit and pomelo are related fruits, so they kind of work well. And then if you have it, a little mint leaf also works well as well.
I do have that.
Something.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it can actually go really well in a last word, because last word has that chartreuse, which is a French herbal liqueur, so the spice in this would actually complement it really well.
It's actually really, but when you were like, sipping it at 41%, and I was like, actually, do you know what? It's very sippable at 41%.
Yeah. I mean, like, through an accident of history, really, people insist on having gin with tonic, and while it works well with tonic, there's nothing against having it as a sipping gin. As well. Yeah.
Like, kind of just moving on slightly from gin, because a lot of times, and even when we talk, or hosting, a lot of people will talk about Irish gin, and we're like, yeah, and they also have whiskey. They're just waiting on it, so they've decided to do gin in the meantime. That's not on the cards right now, or is that even in the plan?
I think at some stage it'd be great to have it in the plan. There's a couple of elements that kind of preclude us from doing it on site. It's a small site. You need to, with the new regulations, both mill, mash, brew and ferment on site, so that's a bit of a challenge for us. We would like to do something maybe with another brewery and bring it down here. Then it might be just called a whiskey instead of an Irish whiskey through the rules as they are. And my own background is whiskey, and it is a great spirit, so at some stage we'd like to do it, but it's just we want to add value rather than just adding another third-party release.
Well, that is an interesting point, that the rules, I mean, you could still bring it out and call it a whiskey. It doesn't necessarily have to be an Irish whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I assume to be a small number of releases, so people would understand what it is, I guess.
And we do like love that matter side of things, like out of a specific category. If you're like, that's cool that you had to do it, but it's also really admirable that you're like, nah, we are a gin distillery, we're going to smash that, or that's what we thought, and then we heard you have an absinthe.
Yeah. Speaking of matter categories, I think you're the only ones consistently doing an absinthe anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have an absinthe. That is absolutely class. It's a bit mad. I love it. And on the bottle here it says Rebel City Distillery Series. So that would lead us to believe that maybe you have other mad stuff coming out too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so we kind of see this as kind of like the home of the innovation in the distillery. So absinthe is the first in series, but we have another one that we're going to bottle probably in the next few weeks, which we can give you a sneak peek of later as well.
We love a sneak peek.
We love a sneak peek.
Makes us feel important.
Yeah, world's first right here. But yeah, so this absinthe, 50.4%. So again, that's relatively modest. Absinthe, 47% minimum?
Yeah, they're often above 47, so they could be clear, because there's an awful lot of usually aniseed oils in them. So with the addition of water, they come out of solution and they're cloudy. So
they louche.
Yeah, exactly. They louche. Yeah. So then instead of bottling a louched product, you go with unlouched. Yeah.
And then this is clear, so that means that you don't use the chlorophyll from one of the herbs?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't extract the chlorophyll from any herb, so which gives the green absinthe the green color. So we're in the white absinthe category. Just didn't find that we're adding any kind of value from a flavor point of view by doing that, so we just kept it at a white absinthe.
Oh, I like that. If it doesn't help with the flavor, get it out. So let's rate this pop an absinthe pop. I've never popped a bottle of absinthe before that I can remember. Yeah, right. Oh, I kind of pushed out. So the green fairy just wanted it. The devil wanted to get out of that. I was literally like pushing my hand. I was like it just wants to come out. There we go.
And yeah, it's a funny one. Absinthe is a funny category because there were negative connotations back in the day, similar to like poaching in Ireland, I guess. Like it's like the green fairy chasing around, but it's all just a bit of nonsense, really, isn't it? Like, or
I mean, like there was kind of I suppose an odd team up back in the day between the wine industry in France and the temperance movement, and they both went gunning for absinthe. They were saying like the wormwood was causing hallucinations, all the great poets and thinkers and artists were drinking it and they were demonizing it. Certainly people were getting drunk, but there's no real evidence anyone was having hallucinations with it. Like, so it was banned. It was across most of Europe in the early 20th century, and then it's been going on the opposite journey in the last 20 years of being unbanned everywhere. So
and it's a funny one, isn't it? Because I think if you look around that kind of Mediterranean basin, you get that aniseed, like raki and Pernod and all these kind of ouzo and all these kind of things. We don't really have we haven't really developed that many, so you would definitely be one of the first to be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's part of that family, the aniseed heavy family, and then it was just nice to do something different to coincide with opening up the visitor centre last year as well. Do a release that gives a bit of interest, and it's just such a fascinating history to absinthe too. So it's kind of nice to go.
Why absinthe? Like when you were sitting there, now we love it because it's just so rogue. But like when you were like going through, something cool and interesting to get a wee bit of fascination around us, why were you just like absinthe?
Definitely we wanted to bring the distillery as a place which which focus on innovation, just not the mainstream stuff. We wanted to try something which is not mainstream as well, try adventurous stuff, something more. And also we wanted to add a new spirit when Visitor Center was launched. And Absinthe has a nice story point as well to talk about. It has a nice theatre to it. And we also have an experience called Chase the Ferry, which is more like absinthe forward experience. So it's a distillery tour, but basically it's more absinthe forward and with cocktails, which is absinthe forward as well.
Tours are available, guys. Here, come down, check it out.
Yeah.
Blackjack sweets. Do you remember blackjack?
I do.
The little blackjacks.
The licorice one.
Yeah.
I hate them. No, I do, but I do actually like absinthe. I drink a lot of absinthe. Like by.
I mean, you fancy yourself as an artist, so I don't
Yeah, yeah. You should see the stuff I paint at home.
That's lovely.
It was drunk by creatives like Picasso.
Yeah.
And there's a great kind of graphic design history with it as well, the old ads that they had back in France and Switzerland at the turn of the century too. So it's just a whole lot of angles to absinthe that make it such a fascinating spirit from like both the spirit end and then like the art history of it as well. Like,
I guess it gives you a little bit of cut through. It's something different as well that you can talk about. Because, like we said, nobody else is doing it. No, but it's
nice and creamy and sweet.
That's
as well.
I think the palate tastes a little bit. It's a little bit fruity. It doesn't taste like like it does on the nose. I guess.
Like beautiful, like level of like that aniseedy, like dry licorice spice and sweetness coming through. I see there is an absinthe drip behind us.
Yeah.
Do you use that?
Yeah, we use it sometimes. It's sometimes just for referencing back to history. The older recipes of absinthe had a lot more wormwood in them, and they were a lot more bitter as a result. So they had that sugar to kind of counteract that. We find that our absinthe doesn't really need the added sugar. So, but it is nice to drip it over, so you can go from clear and louche to cloudy. Like,
and it's quite a nice wee touch. It's a wee cool wee ritual, you know. It does look cool.
And so, suggested serve on this just neat or?
It works well.
It works well neat, but we also found it works really well with ginger ale. Ginger ale and lime just seems to work. So that's the suggested serve we have in the back.
We have it on the back. The Ulysses Mule.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
This is what James
just
Joyce
referencing James Joyce's love for absinthe as well.
Never actually got through one of his books. I'll be honest, I've started a couple. I don't think anybody actually has. I think they just pretend they have.
No, I have, yeah.
Which one?
Ulysses.
Oh, very good.
Great one. Page turner. Honestly. One of my favourite cocktails to make with absinthe is Death in the Afternoon. It was Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway's favourite, and the classic spec is 50 mils. The classic spec is half a champagne flute. Absinthe.
Right.
And then you top it up with champagne.
I can see how it's called Death in the Afternoon.
Because it would get him through to the afternoon, or through the afternoon slump. I think now, if when I make it, it's more like 25 mils absinthe, then top up with champagne. I must admit, it reminds me of other champagne cocktails like the Black Velvet. Like, I think you're actually not getting the best out of Guinness, and you're not getting the best out of champagne.
But Death in the Afternoon, so you don't think you're getting the best out of either?
I don't think you're getting the best out of champagne in it, but it's a great way to like effervescent absinthe. Once you have a good one, like it's brilliant. Like so, absinthe and soda, absinthe and ginger ale. Like I can understand why that with some citric like lime and stuff coming through would be lovely.
Yeah, no, it does work well.
Should we take a little look around?
Well, we're going to do a tour with you guys because you're offering loads of tours now. Like, do you do a cocktail tour here as well?
Yeah, we do cocktail class. We do tipsy tea, which is our spin-off from afternoon tea.
Amazing. Love it.
We are working also to launch a spirit school, so hopefully we should be able to get it up running in 2 months' time. And we're also working on launching an Ford kind of experience, putting industrial kind of cocktails, all about Ford history because we are in Ford building, so playing a bit.
That's a lot of cool stuff. Really thinking outside the box there.
Because we want to create experiences which is just not about tours, it's about experiencing more immersive community around, and also we're happy. We're trying our best.
What's the spirit school going to look like?
So on the bar behind us, it's set in 2 levels. So we put little mini stills on the top level. There's a bit of plumbing behind. We'll give people a kind of a palette of botanical options so they can make their own gin or flavoured vodka or even their own absinthe, and then take it away in a 500 ml bottle like this at the end of the evening. So like Bhagya said, we're just working through some approvals for that, and then hopefully October, November time frame.
Nice. And then the car one. you just get drunk and wreck a car.
No, you come in and you put together a Model T Ford.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because it is Cork City. I don't know. You get drunk and be like, see how many hubcaps you can steal. You know?
Depends on which side of Cork you're on.
Wait, what side are we on?
I have no idea.
But yeah, so what's that going to be based around?
So basically, we want to invite some of the ex-Ford people who used to work in this. So just have a kind of open day and just pay respect to the building and the history, the past, and just put out 2 cocktails. That's what my thinking process is. But I need to fine tune on it. I'd say I'm thinking more in the lines of autumn to launch that.
Nice. Yeah. Go for a wee dander.
Go for a little look around.
Yeah, because I want to try this world first limited edition, us only.
Can't tell anyone about it.
Yeah, we probably will tell everyone tonight. All right, cool. Yeah, let's go for a wee dance. Cheers.